Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Train Sim World. And welcome to we're on the Ruhr Sieg Nord route. That's a DLC. And we're going to play with the DBBR 155 Loco AddOn DLC. So let's get rolling here. And we will, once we're rolling, I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on. This is cool. We're in a yard and our frame rate's looking pretty good. I know I talk about FPS a lot. I think that's one of the, I don't want to say the biggest immersion breakers for me, but it is something that I guess it's probably second to, I'm going to go right here. Where's our, there it is. Probably second only to image quality. I think that is the thing that really kind of clicks for me. Right, first thing, climb aboard and set the battery isolation switch to on. And I'm going to tell you all about this train in a second. Right, that is on. Set the auxiliary compressor to automatic. I can do that. Done. Sit in the driver's seat. You got it. Now, in the interest of disclosure, I did drive this train a little bit last night, and I'm glad that I did. So right here, right. Set the reverser to forward. Oh dear. It's already a loud train. Set the pantograph to raised. We can do that. Where's my cursor? Bring back my cursor. There it is. It's going to make things easier. Pantograph is raised. Hold the main circuit breaker in the closed position. We can do that. Done. Set the transformer to on. We can do that too. Set the compressor to automatic. Charge the brakes. All right. Brake pressure coming up. Coming up? Yeah, it is. Slowly, but it's coming up. Okay. Set the driver's brake key to on. On. Right. Release all brakes into part one ready. Let's let this pressure come up just a little bit more. While that's happening, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. I've realized the trick to keeping my voice going for an entire episode. Hang on. Release all brakes. Handbrake applied. Alright, handbrake is off. Release all brakes to part one ready. Alright, this is an interesting train. You will see. Alright, pressure coming down. Good there. Alright. Brakes are off. Here we go. So this train has, I guess it's almost like a, I don't want to call it a cruise control. Maybe we call it a cruise control. It seems like this big wheel here in the middle, the tap changer, it seems like you just put that where you want it, and that's the speed you go. It's, I don't know how I want to describe it. It's like a one-stop cruise control, a one-function cruise control, where rather than having a throttle, you just set the speed. I guess it's almost like a hand throttle in a tractor. But it was tricky yesterday. I did this scenario yesterday to sort of test it. Yeah, and I never do that. I never do that before I drive a train. I always want to just kind of learn it with you. And maybe not always the best idea. You know what? Let's get these turned off. I don't like these. I don't like those markers that are on the tracks. In fact, I don't really like this marker either. There we go. Slow it down a little bit. I said a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, it's very sensitive. But I was sort of figuring it out yesterday. Sort of, I think. And the way the brakes are, it's tricky. I made it. I didn't get any red flags. So we did make our delivery on time yesterday. Or we completed it. There's no real time for it. So we'll see if we can do the same thing again today. And it's supposed to take 30 minutes. Stop right here. 10 yards. 5 yards. How about right here? Beautiful. Stop at adjacent siding. And I believe this is right behind us. And they were kind enough to throw the switch for us. Right, so we're just going to back up. And we'll hop outside for this. So we're going to go here. All brakes are off. Here we go. So we'll get this hooked up. We'll get rolling up the valley. Now this DLC, the Loco DLC, has scenarios in the Ruhr Sieg Nord route, but you can drive it as a service in both the Ruhr Sieg Nord and the main Spessartbahn. And my German pronunciation, you know, all foreign words, I do my very best with them, but I understand my pronunciation is very often not super accurate. But those two routes, you can drive this little Loco. You know, it's cool. It's I've got one more to go after this. And I had sort of, you know me and Dovetail, I had sort of, I don't know, committed to not committing. Oh dear. But I'm actually kind of glad that I did do these. And that last one, it'll be a week from today. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's wait until we're rolling, because if I tell you everything I have to tell you now, then once we get rolling, I won't have anything to tell you. Yeah, very sensitive brakes. Kind of a, well, all right. Kind of an all or nothing on the brakes. Now couple up to these wagons, pull forward so the locomotive touches the wagons, then climb down and hook the couplings together manually. I would love to do that. Brakes are off. Give it just a little. Just a little. I also did the tutorial for this whip yesterday to see if there was anything that I was missing. The tutorials, I have to say, well, we'll talk about that as well. Right, are we, yeah, we're close enough. Right, so we hop back in cab, and we're going to stand up. We're going to open this door, and make our way through here. Oh, this is cool. Oh, that's nice. That's lovely. I'm going to hop down here. Come over here. And we are now hooked up. All right, set the driver's brake to full service. I can do that. Right back up in here. Close that. Through here. Close that. Sit here. Set the driver's brake to full service. All right. So that is here. All right. And we've got... All right, everything looks good there. So we've charged up the system for the whole train. 15 miles, Hohenlimburg. Okay. So we'll set this back to forward. Let's turn some lights on. Turn some lights on. There. There. And there. Get that turned on. Let's get those turned on. Let's get those turned on. Is that about everything? Yeah, I think it is. Cab lights off. Gauge lights on. Yep. Right, all brakes are off. Here we go. So right, as we're rolling out here, rolling. Now I can tell you about this train. So this is from the Dovetail page. Originally, this was an East German train. In the mid-1960s, they were realizing they needed some more power. And so they came up with this. It was built in the early 1970s, designated the E51. They were built through 1974. I'm sorry, the prototype was finished in 1974, and it had been designated the DRBR250. Following the reunification of Germany in 1994, the DRBR250... Following the reunification of Germany in 1994, I talk pretty. The DRBR250 was renumbered. Oh, that's the problem. It's translated badly. Okay. The DRBR250s were renumbered under DB's reclassification system and became known as the DB-BR155. Following this, the BR155s could be seen all over the German rail network, hauling a wide variety of freight services, including fast container trains on the high-speed lines. Okay, it's called the electric container. That is its nickname. And it just comes with the one loco and the one livery, but you can drive it on 2 routes. So you got that going for you. And then after this, we have one more. We have an add-on loco for Brit Rail. And then next week, or a little over a week from now, we've got Train Sim World 2020. And that's going to have a new route, and it's going to be the Peninsula Corridor up in the Bay Area. So I wanted to... There we go. I feel like I'm cracking a safe. So yeah, I had... there goes the voice. Hang on, let me have some coffee. So you know I had sort of committed to not getting all these DLCs. This is my little protest against Dovetail, like they care. But I was going to not get these DLCs. Hang on. There we are. There we are. But some of them, I have to say, were pretty appealing. So I got a couple, and then there were only a couple left, and I thought, well, I may as well collect the set. And then with the Train Sim World 2020 drop announced, I thought, well, yeah, let's go ahead and do a review for all of these. Maybe it's not a review. Maybe we're just taking it out and playing with it a little bit. Me showing it to you. So I wanted to get the rest of these done, and it looks like the timing will work out just right, because we'll do that other UK loco next week, a week from today, and then a few days after that, like I said, love it. Then the new one will drop, and I'm really looking forward to that Peninsula route. I'm not expecting it. Really not expecting that type of route. I thought it would be, wow, I don't know what is going on with my voice. I do apologize. Hang on, more coffee. Throw a little coffee at it. That solves all problems. So I thought it was going to be the coaster from like San Juan Capistrano up to LA or down to San Diego. I thought it was going to be the Cajon Pass. I was way off, as always. Don't ever let me pick anything that has anything to do with video games, because I'll always be wrong. But it is instead of a Bay Area route that I guess is in the Train Simulator franchise, and people are pretty fond of. So looking forward to that, and we will definitely do a video. Now that comes with looks like several different locos, and both passenger and freight. So we should have a few scenarios to play with for a couple weeks, and yeah, really looking forward to it. I'm glad I brought trains back to the channel a little bit more. I used to do them pretty often, like weekly, and then I got away from them, and I'm glad that I'm getting back into them. And also spin tires, and as always, want to bring racing back to the channel. So things are evolving, things are changing. I'm digging it, having a blast making these. So that's all I got as far as what's coming up with Train Sim World. This loco itself, it's different. It's definitely different. And this control system, I have to say, it's taken me a while to get used to it. But I think I'm figuring it out. I did do the tutorial. It's not super descriptive. It just says use the tap changer, which is this wheel. It says use the tap changer and the brakes to control the speed of the train. Well, come on, man. I could have figured that out even without the manual. You got to tell me how they interact. Because it seems like we've got, well, no, when I move it, it moves it. Oh no, we can look at it right here. So this is your, I believe your torque meter here on the, uh-oh, hang on, moment. We're going downhill? Yeah, we're going downhill. So on the left, you've got your torque meter, right? Right now it's at essentially 0. If we gotta bring some brakes in here. But this is good timing. It will, yeah, it will immediately kick to negative torque. So it's doing some electric braking. That's a dance. It's not. It's not. So it immediately goes to some like electric braking, but I didn't set the electric brake. I guess that just happens automatically when you use the air brakes. I don't know. It doesn't really explain it in the manual. But it seems like the brake and the throttle are somehow linked, and that can give you a very strong brake response with very minimal input. So it's going to take a minute to figure this train out, but it is fun, and it's definitely different. I don't think there's anything else like it. Oh dear, hang on. We got to do some serious braking now. There we go. Yeah. And I mean, everything is released and it just keeps slowing us down. I don't know if we're supposed to leave this up, right? Like leave this set to a higher speed? I don't know. I didn't want to slow down that. I wanted to slow down to like 45, not 25. But, I don't know. And it doesn't really explain it. Of course. So that is dovetail. You know, I wonder if they do that on purpose, so that you have to sort of play with the train, you know, take it out and run some routes with it and figure it out yourself. And I'm okay with that. That personally is the way that I like to figure things out. That and Google, of course, Reddit. But it is, I think in some ways, that is as much fun or more fun than just reading a manual that tells you how to do it. I think it's the best way to learn things. Oh, hey, buddy. I think the best way to learn something is to make yourself like a pro at it, you know, and you don't make yourself, you're never going to make yourself a pro at anything by reading about it online or in a book. You make yourself a pro by doing something over and over and over until you own it. So I'll keep playing with this train until I figure it all out. But yeah, it's cool, and it is different. When I saw, you know, rebranded. See, and then it does this too. There's some of these that I feel like they don't give you any throttle response until you take them back to 0. You sort of have to reset them, and I don't know if that's a safety feature of the real train in real life, or if that's a bug in the sim. So yeah, I was not, when I saw rebranded, reliveried East German Loco, really wasn't doing it for me, but it's fine, you know. And and again, I guess this ties in with what I was saying earlier. You got to do things to figure them out. You got to, you know, you can't just read it or hear about it and call it good. Sometimes you need that direct experience. And while I'm not particularly a fan of East Germany, and I guess in some ways I would say I'm really not even a fan of this Loco. I am, because it's different and we're learning things and it's historical and, you know, it's like that. So I am glad that I got it. I really am. And then I guess that ties in, talking about the throttle, that ties in with dovetail. There is a groundswell. There's a lot of people online saying, we're beginning to descend here. So let's leave the throttle up. Oh dear. Let's leave the throttle up while we do our braking and see if that takes us back to, yeah. If we don't turn the throttle down, then as soon as we back off the brakes, it takes us back to holding at that speed. Maybe. I think I might have just discovered that. So the Train Sim World franchise, if you're not familiar, it's got a ton of bugs. Now, me personally, I am not that much of a train fan that I can even spot a lot of them. But I mean, there's things like... Alright, I'm very, very carefully going to do this. So we've got these little displays here. They have some buttons that are functional. Turn my cursor back on. There it is. They have some buttons that are functional, right? Up, down. But it doesn't actually do anything. Is it supposed to? This is the same way. It's that way with these displays in most of the Locos. They don't actually do anything. And apparently that is a real point of contention. Hey, buddy. That is a point of contention for serious rail fans. There are a lot of more esoteric things, like some of the speed controls, some of the way the stations are set up, placement of various things in the Locos. Serious rail fans and serious train sim fans are really not happy about that stuff, and they feel like Dovetail needs to do something about it. Plus, just various bugs like crashes and that sort of thing. Obviously, you want to do something about that. I haven't really had any crashes, and as far as those small details, I'm not enough of a rail fan to notice them. But a lot of people have. So the groundswell is, hey, Dovetail, before you release a new game, why don't you fix the old one? So it's possible that the two are combined, and this big update, which will make Train Sim World into Train Sim World 2020, will have a ton of bug fixes, and it will be a patch as well as an update. Let's back this down just a little bit. So we're going down pretty good right now. There we go. And then if we back this off, we stop braking. Okay, that's the trick. Leave the tap changer. Instead of calling it a throttle, we'll call it a tap changer. Leave the tap changer set, and that is essentially keeping your speed. Like right now, we're held at about 40, 46, 47. As far as acceleration, but that's not braking. So if we brake manually, then as soon as we come down to speed, if we back the brake off, we're still back the brake off. Off, I said. There we go. Yeah, and then you can see the torque pick up a little bit. Okay, I feel like I'm not doing that exactly right, but we're in the neighborhood. So, I'm hoping, a lot of people are hoping, that they fix a lot of things in the game. And, you know, one of the big things, there's, oh, I can't remember the exact name of it. Railmaster, maybe? You know, you can get a steering wheel to play a race sim. You can get a flight stick to play a flight sim. There is, I've seen it. I've never seen one in person. I've seen pictures of it online, and I thought about buying one. But there's something called the, I'm about 90%, maybe 80% certain. It's called the Railmaster. But it's essentially a control panel, a USB control panel for train sims, and it's big, and it's got, you know, this sort of thing on it. It's got these types of controls on it, very big, very robust, and it's got a ton of buttons on it, and it's you know, such as you would have. It's very cool. Apparently, Train Sim World, one of only several train simulations out there, real ones, does not support this thing. And and rail fans say, hang on, we gotta do a little slowing down here. Rail fans say, hey Dovetail, what gives, man? Yeah, see, I don't know why it does that. We come way down. We didn't want to come down that far. Now there is. Let's get through this station here and I'll show it to you. There's this thing here. We can select the brake force. In fact, let's back that down. All right. And then we'll bump the throttle back up. So Train Sim fans, I think with good reason, I said bump that back up. Come on, man. There we go. Are asking Dovetail, why does arguably the best train sim that's available not support a train sim controller? Come on, man. You don't want to drive this thing with mouse and keyboard. You want to drive it with a big old control panel. So little things like that, or I guess in some cases bigger things like that, may well be addressed in this big patch, update, reboot, whatever you want to call it. So we shall see. That'll be next week, and I'll do a video of it straight away. So that is what's going on there. And was there one other thing? Was there? There might have been. I don't know. And yeah, we'll have one more Loco video between now and when the new game drops. I think that's all I got. There was something else I wanted to mention, but I've already forgotten it, because that's the way my brain is. I'm drinking iced coffee, and I just swallowed a giant ice cube, so it's possible I'm going to get an ice cream headache here in a second. I did not intend to do that, but it snuck in. What's this thing? Oh, whoa. Not all the way, player. Just easy. Yeah, like right there, okay. Alright, we got blinds, we got windows, we got that thing. Very nice. We got wipers. I believe those are over here. Yeah, there it is. We got wipers. Fantastic. Yeah, it's a cool little train. I mean, it is, obviously, it's very, let's hop outside again. Obviously, it's got kind of an East German look to it, as you might have. In fact, screenshot right there. Let's take another one without a pole. There we go. It's got kind of an East German look to it. It's very utilitarian. I mean, it's from the 70s, so we should sort of expect that. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's like driving a car. It's like being in a train sim driving a car that you've never really been fond of, or that you've never thought of driving, and it's like, why not? You know, it's in the sim. Why not explore a little bit? And I don't know. I know people that they don't want to know what they don't know. They don't want to learn what they don't already know. They just don't want to, you know, they eat at the same restaurants. They go to the same places. They see the same kind of movies. They listen to the same kind of music. And it's like, man, how would you ever learn anything? How would you ever find anything new if you just keep doing the same thing over and over? And, you know, for some people that's enough. I personally prefer sort of surprising myself every now and then and finding something new, finding something a little different. So it goes. I know this is, I mean, I've owned this route for a while, and I don't think they've done much to patch it. Maybe one after it came out, they fixed a few things, but the game somehow seems to be getting better. I wonder about this every episode. I wonder if they're not doing some optimization within the DLC, right? Because the DLC, obviously, they're making them. Brakes are off. They're making those DLC a year or two after they made base game. Are they learning things or figuring things out that are allowing them to make the code more efficient, make things load faster, less tiling, you know, less micro freezes, and implementing that in the new stuff? But they can't implement it in the old stuff, obviously, because the old stuff is already done. Same thing that the truck sim folks seem to be doing. SCS, the new areas of the map are so much better than the old areas of the map, and you wonder, are they going to go back and do those areas? I mean, I guess in a way it's inevitable that they will, because there's only so much of Europe, right? It's not like they're making more Europe. So at least to the west, you know, they're going to hit ocean pretty soon. So I know the game will continue moving and expanding east, but as far as, you know, being on the western side of Europe, let's take this down and then take it back up. There we go. There's some torque. You see what I'm saying? Even areas of Western Europe that are already done, there's no reason they can't go back and redo them and fix them. And I believe they have done that with Germany, but they can do that with the rest of the base game that's already done, as they're continuing to expand the map east. So who knows? Who knows? I see game developers do amazing, smart things that make a ton of sense and really make me think those people care and know what they're doing. I see other game developers do things and it's like, man, are you even paying attention? Are you getting this? And having worked with corporate clients, I can tell you that there are some people that, no, they don't get it. They absolutely do not get it, not even a little bit. And they're running companies, you know, or not running companies, barely running companies, but so it goes, you know? So it goes. Right, so we're getting into Hohenlimberg, and we'll get this thing parked up, and I want to say we're going to hold speed almost all the way into the yard, and then we'll back down for the last little bit. It goes to 25, and then I think it goes to 15, but we should finish up pretty timely. I think this is going to be one of the DLCs, one of the scenarios within a DLC that I get done as quickly as I'm supposed to for one of the first times. If it says 30 minutes, it takes me 40 minutes. If it says 45 minutes, it takes me an hour and a half. That's always the way. But I think this one's going to be done pretty quick. So, super happy about that. Right. I think we're getting... Things are about to get hectic here. So I'm ready on the brakes. So we go through here. We go through here. You know, this is a good looking DLC too. It's the 2 DLC, I don't know why, but for some reason German DLC, I always think that they're cloudy, you know, overcast. It just always seems kind of industrial. But then I think the same is true of the UK routes as well, and the same is true of the CSX route. And I wonder if that's not just a function of the weather in TSW more than the routes themselves. But a lot of these routes tend to seem very industrial and very sort of, not grim. That's not the right word. Maybe it is. But then you realize, yeah, that's absolutely fitting, because the parts of town that a railroad goes through in both the United States and Europe, they're not always the most desirable locations. It is very often kind of an industrial area. And even when it's going through the countryside, you know, the areas right around... Oh yeah. Anytime I see a crossing, I try to get on the horn. I know it's way too late and you would want to hit your horn much earlier than that. I know there's little signs, but again, I'm not enough of a rail fan to have all this stuff dialed. So, yeah, of course you're going to have industrial stuff around. Let's start slowing down a little bit here. You're going to have industrial stuff around trains. And then, yeah, so we're slowing down to 25. Okay, so our negative torque, our negative electric torque, is much, much lower now that we've backed that from 50 down to... Yeah, that's way better. Okay, so use that brake force selector to dial it in a little bit. Okay. And then this will be like so. And now we have positive torque again. Okay, so use the tap changer. Okay, use the tap changer to sort of set your desired speed or the throttle you want to hold at. And then use your brakes. Okay, maybe. Take this down here. Okay. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. Things have some of these German routes have seemed a little grim, but in retrospect, they're not grim at all. That's just what railroads look like. So I'm digging this route. It's got a nice feel to it. Over there. Beautiful. Beautiful. I think it looks like I slowed down a little bit early, but I think we're going to hit a 25 here. Kind of out of nowhere. it is. To 12. So we'll just be creeping at that point. But you know what? We're just about there anyway. Ah, yeah. See, there's that thing again where it just slows us way, 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 way down. There we are. Yeah, I wonder if the slower you're going, the more you need to dial this brake force down. Curious. We'll just need to experiment to figure it out, because the manual, at least the manual that I found, really not super clear on how to control this train. But we got here with no tickets and no damage. We'll use the truck sim metric. No tickets, no damage. That counts for me. Beautiful. And we do have a red signal. I miss those all the time. I'm so like fixated looking out in front of me, and there's so many red signals. Like, we've got a red signal right in front of us. The one that's on the left, that one's for us. But these others, those are for other people. Those are for other tracks. Do not apply to us. Well, I can't always tell that. So I don't always pay attention to red signals out here. I use the HUD up in the corner. And the problem with that approach is, if I'm looking out here and not looking at the HUD is the only thing that could tell me that I'm about to get a red signal, about to bust a red signal. And then I do. Slow down a little bit. And then I do. And that's the end of the scenario. So things like this, like getting a train slowed down at the end of a service. No. Oh. Almost went through that one as I was talking about my bad habit of going through signals. Right. From here, shunt the wagons back up the line to the Oga Works reception. From there, the local shunter will take the wagons into the facility. Oega? I don't know, man. Not so good on the Spreckensy. Right. So we're done. Go right through there. Wait till this screen clears and we'll call it. There you have it, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Train Sim World. This is the DBBR155 Loco AddOn DLC. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.